This time on Watchers of Tomorrow, Touch of Death.
Hello, welcome to Watchers of Tomorrow, the sci-fi review and critique show that remembers what you did. My name is Gapwin, and I am joined, as always, by my friend and co-host, Dr. Isix.
Hi.
And this week, we have another one of these frickin' confusing names. We talked about this last time. I don't know why they name the episodes like this. Someone somewhere thought Factor was a really, really cool thing to call stuff. And we just get so much of it.
I prefer factorial, because then you can get a number, and then you multiply it by one less that number, and then you multiply by one less of that number, and so on until you get to one.
The vengeance fractal. Because it keeps repeating.
Now, fractals are technically different, but yes. Just remember the song, you take a point called X in the complex plane, or
Can you remember the song?
No, Z. Z1 equals Z squared plus C. Z2 equals Z1 squared plus C, and so on until the series of Z's, I don't know, close to Z and never trend away. That point is in the Mandelbrot set. The Mandelbrot set.
Clearly a very easy way to remember this mnemonic. I can see it's stuck with you all these years.
I could continue the song if you like.
This episode is called The Vengeance Factor for some reason. It's not sponsored by Factor.
Nope.
Everything's sponsored by Factor.
Oh no.
One day you'll be able to play Raid Shadow Legends on your Factor box, and the Ouroboros of sponsorships will be complete.
Everyone must be assimilated.
Oh, this episode we're coming up on the very end of the 80s. In one or two episodes, we will have hit the 90s officially.
I think this is the last episode in the 80s.
Yeah, you're right. Next episode is January 1st, 1990.
Neat.
So yeah, we're at the last episode of the 1980s.
Yeah, that we go from cool to radical.
Yeah. It still takes a minute. Like, if you look at stuff from like 91, like 90 to 93, it's like, why is this still the 80s?
Yeah.
Because everyone's still got big hair and shoulder pads. It's like, you don't really get a decade's culture until you hit at least like year 4 to 5.
Indeed. Or at least the parts of the culture that people remember.
Yeah.
Though I guess in the early 90s there was kind of a wave of country music because of Achy Breaky Heart.
Ugh, stop that. We were just talking about this yesterday for some reason, and it made me remember that song existed, and I hate it.
Yeah, I don't much care for it either.
They made us sing it at school. I think that technically qualifies as child abuse.
Yes, we had a rewording of it, so it's about homework instead.
Ooh, don't do my homework.
I will spare you the specific lyrics.
This episode, the last episode of the 80s, was written by Sam Rolfe. Or Rolf, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to pronounce the E or not, because I cannot, you don't know until you've heard a name spoken, and I'm bad at reading names, and I apologize to everyone who's ever had their name read by me, ever.
Usually it's Rolf for this particular spelling, but there are exceptions.
They're written by Sam Rolfe, who has a very long writing career, some old 30-minute radio dramas from the 50s. He co-created The Western Have-Gun Will Travel, and also apparently is credited with the most memorable parts of A Man from U.N.C.L.E.
In fact, they brought him back for The Man from U.N.C.L.E., the 2015 movie, because, he's kind of an expert.
Right. They brought him back for the 2015 movie.
Yeah.
But he died in 93.
I know, right?
This doesn't make any sense to me.
That's one of his writing credits. Maybe it's sort of a they
Based
took
on, or-
parts of parts of their script or something like that. Based on sort of things there. So yes,
He's like, you ruined my tragic end to the writer's thing because this is one of the last things he wrote because he died like 4 years after this, which is very sad.
a long history of writing things. Have Gun Will Travel wrote like a couple hundred episodes of that.
Apparently came up with the Man from U.N.C.L.E. acronym and The Gun.
The Gun.
I've not seen Man from U.N.C.L.E., but apparently they're a very famous gun. Guest stars. I need to get through the guest stars because, my God, there's guest stars aplenty. As always, I'm going to abbreviate the number of guest stars we have to talk about.
Of course.
So, Lisa Wilcox is Utah. I hate it. I hate it as a name. I hate the way Riker says it. I hate everything about it.
Yeah, it's like Utah, but different.
Wilcox is best known for playing Alice in A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5. She was later in shows like Boy Meets World, Walker Texas Ranger, the very short-lived Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, which was apparently a television show.
Yep.
And very recently, I had to set up this joke. Like, how much do you remember 30 Rock?
Bits and pieces, but not much.
Do you remember the made-up reality show that they kept referencing in one episode? They had a made-up reality show called MILF Island.
Oh my. Yeah, I'm not remembering that one.
The most recent thing that Lisa Wilcox appeared on, like last year, was a reality show on TLC called MILF Manor.
Oh my.
Which is somehow worse than the made-up one they had on 30 Rock, because that was some sort of Survivor clone where they had like older women and young like teen boys. This is a bunch of women moving into an apartment to like hook up with younger men, and in the first episode it's revealed that the younger men are in fact their children.
Oh dear. That's awkward.
And that's like, the general conflict, as it were.
Yeah, you're going to be dating my son over here. You better have him back by 11.
I saw several articles, because I saw this pop up in the credits, when I was researching this. And like, what in the world is this joke? This is a literal joke of a reality show.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found so many articles. Like, this is the downfall of television. This demonstrates that reality TV has completely run out of ideas and should die slowly and painfully.
Yeah, well, it's been kind of in that domain for a while, but this sort of thing, it's like, really?
Yeah, but
really?
I think definitely by the time this episode comes out, I think as we're recording this, season 2 is currently airing. So if you want to go head over to TLC and watch something truly unhinged that's tangentially related to Star Trek.
I guess in more pleasant things, Lisa Wilcox was also in lots of other horror movies. The House That Eats Flesh, Reunion from Hell 2, Dark Ritual, The Intruders, and things like that. So those were probably more pleasant overall.
Probably,
than this reality show nonsense.
I would count this reality show as a horror movie. Someone who, as far as I can tell, has not been on unhinged sounding reality shows. Nancy Parsons is playing Maruk. Parsons has several film and TV roles from the 70s and 90s, including things like Charlie's Angels, Porky's, and 27 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
So a short-term visit for that sort of series there.
I know. You barely have time to find out that your identical twin got amnesia and was impregnated by your father's identical twin's clone.
And this has important ramifications for the inheritance of Uncle Bebop there, who's not actually dead, but everyone's fighting over the inheritance anyway. Yeah, she was, also in, not just Porky's, but also Porky's 2 and Porky's Revenge, which I was completely unaware that there was sequels to Porky's. So,
I know. What did they need to take revenge on?
Only seen bits and pieces of Porky's because it's not really my kind of movie. But I suspect there might be a villain involved, and there's now time for revenge because the villain got their comeuppance.
Now they take revenge on the villain.
Or or maybe the villain's getting revenge on them, and it's going to fail, but they're going to try.
Wait, seek revenge. He's already seeking revenge in the first movie. I've never seen these movies. This group of in 1954. This is a movie from 81, so it's set in 54. Group of Florida high school guys try to help their buddy lose his virginity, which leads to them seeking revenge on a sleazy nightclub owner. So they're already taking revenge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one of them is Porky.
Maybe that's the nightclub?
Maybe. Anyway, we will unravel the mysteries of the Porky cinematic universe later.
When we have time, aka don't hold your breath here.
Now you have Joey Aresco as Brull. He is best known for playing a role named Sergeant John David on the show Ba Ba Black Sheep.
Where have you gone, Black Sheep?
Which apparently is because it's based on like a book by someone who was in the Air Force during World War II in Black Sheep Squadron, which is why it's called this. TV shows used to have the most unhinged names. He also had guest roles on Taxi, Trapper, MD, The A-Team, and anything that came out of the 80s.
Yeah, and the 70s. Don't discount the 70s. And a bunch of things in the 90s, too. It was even in Stargate.
From my perspective, the 70s is discount 80s. Yeah.
Oh, even in Dark Angel.
Ooh, oh my god, that thing. Forgot about that.
Da Vinci's Inquest. Huh.
And finally, for our purposes, because there's a lot of other people running around doing things, shooting people.
Yes.
We've got Stefan Lee as Corgan.
The Corgan.
He's been in a lot of stuff. He played the sergeant in War Games. He was in an episode of The Golden Girls. He was in Babylon 5. He was in RoboCop 2. He was in Seinfeld.
So a little bit of everything. One of those that guy actors.
He will come back in season 7 as the alien bartender guy in Gambit.
Oh, yeah. He was also in something called Generation.
That keeps popping up. What is that?
I have no idea. He was also in today's FBI.
The modern FBI. That film, there's something called the FBI that keeps filming around Williamsburg. When I'm walking over there, I keep seeing the street notices for we are going to be filming an episode. The street is closed.
So it's just stalking you, Gep. When I'm sorry, I've cursed you.
You have cursed me. Like now it's just there. I've never seen them filming, but I've seen the notices that you're not allowed to park there because they're filming.
Well, maybe you should get a car, a junker, and just sort of, park it there like weeks ahead of time and see what they do to it.
They'll ticket it and tow it, and then I'll never see it again, and I still won't know what's going on. This is just what happens.
Well, what if you bolt the car to the street?
That would be weird, but yeah,
yes.
Maybe.
But interesting. Anyway.
This just happens. I went somewhere a while back. I forget how close to home it was, and we just looked over, and there were like people next to a really old car dressed like it was the 70s, just like wandering around because they were filming an episode of something. This is just living in New York.
Sort of in a similar vein, one of the times I've visited San Francisco, decided to go wandering around through the city a bit, sort of not near the pier, but sort of a little bit further in, near the big tower nearby. And I pretty sure I saw some folks filming a commercial, because there was an actress who was obviously a little on the underweight side, because, fashion model sort of stuff there, and with a large balloon and just sort of meandering across the street and then back again and so forth. It's like, okay.
Sure. All right, we should get into this, even though we're going to have nothing to talk about, which is why I'm screwing around on this end of the show. You can always tell how much I think there's anything relevant in an episode because I spend more time farting around in the front instead of the end.
Yeah, it happens.
Also, I type these up on an iPad, so I get a lot of weird spelling corrections. So the first line of my script now says, an away team beads into a station.
How would one bead?
You get a bunch of beads and you put it on a string and then you sew it into various positions. Beading is a thing. Beading's a whole hobby.
Well, but how does it take you somewhere?
I don't know, they're round.
Oh,
Roll.
so you're like
you like skate. You like spread them on the floor and it's like whee.
And then and then you do a sort of a surf thing over them.
Yeah, bead surf. Okay. They bead surf their way onto a station.
Go for it.
Or ship or something. It's been attacked. Who knows what it is. It's a generic space thingy-mabob that they don't really name, but it's been attacked and stripped for parts.
Yeah, so this is actually a ground station because there's a background painting that they took from Forbidden Planet.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's what the landscape is here.
They find a sharp piece of metal with blood and 2 unconscious scientists, and according to Crusher, the scientists are going to be fine. They've got multiple stun blasts, but the blood has a unique iron-copper composite that's only found in Acamarians, which can only mean the Gatherers.
Dun dun dun!
Who are a group of nomadic marauders, and they all need to take care of this. So they go to the Akamar Hole Memorial to deal with the Gatherers.
Now, if only this was some sort of wizards in some sort of fantasy setting.
Let's say what keeps getting with me is I grew up on the Borrowers. So like every time somebody has something like this, you mean there's tiny people who steal buttons?
That's why the buttons keep disappearing.
So they get to the planet. They bring on board Sovereign Maruk, who is pissed. That she's just super pissed that the Gatherers are out there, making us all look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently their planet used to take part in extremely violent clan wars. Families killing each other for generation-long blood feuds. But now they got over all of that, and they're peaceful, except for the Gatherers who left and never returned, rejecting every offer that's been made for them to come back to rejoin their super peaceful society.
Oh, so I guess you're not really responsible for these people at all, since they've decided to leave your planet basically forever.
Yeah, basically sounds like you had a group of people who just left and said, we are no longer politically affiliated with you. And you're like, damn, now you're our responsibility.
Maybe the Acamarians are looking to join the Federation at some point, and this maybe been a sticking point of some sort.
Possibly. Or it's just they're just here because Picard thinks this is the easiest way to deal with this situation. So she agrees to go with them to try to talk to the Gatherers, but she needs to bring up a couple of servants because they may be a super peaceful, enlightened civilization, but they got a hell of a class structure.
Yeah, so they can quit any time they like, but there's
but you can never leave.
Yeah, there's obligations. You should probably keep on your job, and we're gonna call you servants, and you're not slaves, but
Yeah, no idea what's going on with this. So Riker shows Maruk and the servants to their quarters, including the head chef and food taster, Utah.
Not to be confused with the state. This one starts with a Y.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, you can just use a replicator. You don't actually have to cook. We've taken that away from everyone. Like we don't do that on a spaceship. Fire, bad idea.
Yes, except for that one episode.
Yeah. So she might have more time for things like, flirting with Riker.
Oh, wait, I have free time now? Weird.
He also goes, hey, I want to try some of your cooking. That sounds fun. New dishes and whatever.
New dishes, maybe some sort of hot coffee.
Yeah. And eventually he's like, I don't know how to cook anything. I'm just a chef. What?
Well, no specialities. Yeah. I cook everything equally of quality.
Sounds like the most boring food situation imaginable.
A little bit. But that's how I cook. Anyway.
So they arrive at a system where the Gatherers may be hiding and detect life signs and campfires. They beam down to find no one but a large collection of stolen junk. They are then ambushed and pinned down.
So I have a question. How did they get ambushed if they just beamed down?
Yeah.
Like, did they know that there were going to be beaming down in like 5 minutes, and so decide to go hide.
Well, I mean, it's loud.
True.
It's loud and it takes a minute. So they might hear the beam thingy, and I was like, everyone go behind the pillar.
Yep.
Riker shoots a pile of scrap, which sets it on fire and makes a bunch of smoke, which gives them cover when he orders a beam out. The gatherers come down going, cowards, and then Worf pops out behind the leader and holds a phaser to his head because they didn't, in fact, beam out. It was a ruse.
Riker didn't say Simon Says.
No, they've all been subdued, I guess. They seem pretty happy about the situation for people who just got, like, essentially kidnapped. Yes.
It's like, we're still going to be rowdy here. It's fine.
So they bring Maruk down to discuss their offer. It's complete amnesty for any gatherer who returns to Akamar. Brull, who's in charge of this particular little group, is crude and disrespectful, but it is sort of interested in talking.
It's like, all my people, go away. I need to, talk to this lady one-on-one. Regard, you could stay, too, because, you're not going to leave if I tell everyone else to leave. So
there's there's also such a fascinating dynamic going on where they don't really talk about it, but Maruk and her people are all very upper class, clean and prissy, and everything has to be manners. And all of the gatherers are mostly just fucking around and having fun.
Yep.
They're just messing with each other and joking around. And she's standing there like, the savages, no wonder we could never integrate you into our society.
You're like a space biker gang. How could we ever live with you?
But they're barely doing anything. They're messing with each other mildly. Mm-hmm. Everyone's having a grand time.
They seem more intent on, I guess, causing mischief for each other than her. So
yeah. So while they're talking, Yuta wanders away and follows around an old man. And when alone, he recognizes her. Says, "I'm from the clan Teralsta." I'm not going to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's a name.
Yeah. She is the last of her line, and she touches the guy, and he gets a terrified, pained look on his face and falls over dead.
Well, that's weird. You just kind of touch a guy and he dies. Riker, you might have to be careful about this lady.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rogue rules.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Brull's decided that he's going to come with them to the gatherer leader so they can talk over Maruk's offer. One of the gatherers finds the old man's body. Riker calls down Crusher, who can't do anything since, he's been dead too long.
Yes.
This time, death is permanent, unlike all those other times.
Yes.
But also, death is weird because he's had a heart attack, and she can't find a reason that he should have had a heart attack.
Yeah, his heart seems in good condition. There's no giant bits of plaque building up and clogging an artery here. His heart just sort of freaked out and stopped.
Yeah. Also, people though hey, I get to claim his stuff. That's our whole culture. We don't care about the body. It's an empty husk. And this is another place where they go ooh, savages. It's just a cultural thing. Y'all are supposed to protect each other's cultural thing.
Yeah.
That's half of your entire brand.
We don't understand this culture because it's slightly different than ours.
Yeah.
And, maybe they're objecting to the ownership of items, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I just love it keeps reminding me of the Futurama quote. Ever since man went to the stars and met new people with new ways of doing things, he had one dream: to kill them, so he didn't have to learn their new ways of doing things.
You have enough cultural diversity at home. Now we have to murder everyone else, or something like that, I guess.
Yeah. So Burl's not worried about anything that's going on because the dude was old. It's an old dude died. He's like, hey, an old dude died. It happens.
Fair.
So they make their way to the gatherer leader. Anyhow, Burl is a bit unimpressed that Wesley's flying the ship somehow. And then he calls him a coward for calculating a course around an asteroid field instead of flying into asteroids.
Well, there's, being brave for a purpose, and then there's not being a fool. So,
And no, especially in any other universe, the real one, it would be like, that's weird that you want to fly around an asteroid field. You know, asteroids are really far apart, right?
Yes.
That
just keep your sensors going and pick up anything that might be directly in the way, which is unlikely.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, a rock 6 miles starboard.
Better move half a parsec away, just in case.
So everybody hangs out and tends forward for a bit. Yuta brings Riker some roots. Apparently it's good. They talk about how she only knows how to be a servant, and she's trapped in a life she can't control in a weird way that might make sense later, but doesn't now.
Yeah, Riker, maybe you should do some cultural research on these folks to maybe better understand her situation and, connect with her on a personal level.
Yeah. Burl antagonizes Wesley some more. Turns out because he has a son about the same age, so he just likes, messing with Wesley. And he's like, this is why I want a better future, because my kids can have a better future, etc., etc.
Sure, you're kind of a nerd, Wesley, but I wouldn't mind if they could have, the opportunity to be nerds if they wanted to, I guess. Mm. Also, what's this space-time manifold stuff you're looking at here?
Which is also just, it is strange, the way that they show, piracy in the future. Because, this is kind of the equivalent of a, old time, like 1800s pirate captain going on shore somewhere and going, what's that? A book about how to properly rig a ship? Nerd.
You just sort of do it. It's
yeah. I just get on my boat and ropes happen.
Why don't you just rope? Come on.
These people have and maintain spacecraft.
Mm-hmm.
They must know how they function on some level.
Some technical expertise and ability to, make repairs and all that sort of stuff there. It's kind of comes with the territory, guy.
Yeah, you need to know how to repair a spaceship that defies our modern understanding of physics. You definitely understand physics better than any living human on Earth now.
Though I guess maybe they don't use math to do it. Somehow.
Yeah, they just intuit. They're intuitive physicists.
Yeah, it's like those one guys from the Wing Commander movie there. Just start putting numbers into the computer and it just works.
I don't think I've seen Wing Commander.
It's kind of fun, but not in-depth movie of any sort.
No, that's the video game.
Yeah, there's a video game. Yeah, whole
they
series.
Made a movie? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I keep confusing it with Last Starfighter.
It's I guess very in the vein of 1800s sea vessels in space sort of thing for most of it. Plus you have fighter craft.
Okay. Well, I always found 1800 sea vessels in space to be my favorite genre of space.
Let's broadside them.
There's nothing I love more than a flying boat. As my eternal love for Last Exile and Skies of Arcadia will prove. So Riker's eating space spuds, and then gets called away to sickbay because Crusher's found a weird virus.
Riker, you might die if you touch her.
Yeah, but probably not, though. So the old gatherer was killed by a very, very specific virus that attacks DNA so targeted that probably only about 1 in a million Akamarians would be affected by it. So definitely an engineered virus of some kind.
Well, I guess you're in the clear, Riker. You're good to go.
Yeah. I mean, you would imagine, because these people have copper in their blood. They cannot be very similar to humans.
Yes. They have a very unusual biochemistry, so a virus that affects them is probably not going to cross over too easily.
Yeah, probably not. They're like Vulcan humans. So Riker does some work in his quarters, connecting to the Akamarian database to research this weird mystery. Then Yuta shows up to have some fun, but she's just way too submissive because Riker's not into that.
Yeah, he's like, I like equal partners, I like some feistiness, as they say.
Yeah, Riker does not have this, dominance kink, I guess. And it's really unclear what's going on. It sounds like she was possibly ordered to go have sex with Riker in a way that is unclear, so that's not okay.
Indeed.
But maybe she just misinterpreted it somehow. I don't understand what this culture is, what they're trying to say about this.
Yeah, it's like Yuta follows every order she's given by the Sovereign, but also does other things sometimes.
Yeah. So Riker goes, no, I'm not into this like weird submissive thing. She says, well, the part of me that can love is dead. I can't feel pleasure or pain. And it's like, that seems weird, but there's a red alert, so we don't have time to think about it.
Yes, dang red alerts. This isn't the first time.
So they found the Gatherer leader, and he's shooting at them. It's not doing much because he's got an old clunker and he's shooting at the flagship of the Federation.
Yes. Poke, 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 poke. Could you stop that, please? Poke, poke, poke.
Stay on your side of the star system. Worf takes out their shields by shooting at them.
It's like a low yield phaser beam that just like, I'm just going to shoot you for a while, and there's your shield's gone. Okay.
And now Krogan will listen to what's going on because I guess he doesn't think that he's been betrayed anymore. It's like, you bastard, you led them to us. It's like, no, we're here to talk. It's like, nah, I hate you. Except you took out my shield, so I guess I don't have any choice.
I guess I'll talk.
Yeah. Picard goes, I'm not giving you any option. We're beaming everyone here. Just shut up. They have tense negotiations. Krogan is really good at negotiating.
Mm-hmm. I guess that means it makes sense. He's become the leader of these gatherers.
I know. It's for once they have like a leader who's good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, we want a place in the ruling council. We want to be able to have a say in what's going on. We're going to have, you want us to live under your rules. We have to have a voice in putting them there. Yeah.
So, we got to have, our representation if we're going to be taxationed,
Yeah. Maruk just keeps going, oh, this is ridiculous. How could you want things?
Sovereign Maruk, maybe you're kind of used to everyone just being, yeah, sure for you because you're the Sovereign, and running into someone who's not like that is maybe a little frustrating. So maybe you should, I don't know, get over yourself.
Yeah. And then Data goes like, you both are yelling at each other. Don't we have so much in common?
Not helping, Data.
So back at the ship, Data and Riker are researching the Akmarian database, where they find one other person who died from this virus 53 years ago was a member of the Lornak clan, who was captured during a raid but died of a heart attack before his trial. Also, the Old Gatherer was a member of the Lornak clan, because, this whole place used to be all families and whatnot.
Yeah, the Gatherers seem to have sort of abandoned the whole clan fighting thing here, because they're like, we want to be free, and I guess that means we have to actually work together now. We're still going to give them each other a lot of trouble, but
this whole thing makes very little sense, because they everybody on this planet went from clan wars to no one cares where you came from in about a generation.
Yes.
Even the people who left because they didn't like the way the planet was changing seem to have given up on the whole clan idea.
Yeah, I guess something happened. It's not entirely clear what that was, but it just sort of encouraged different ways of abandoning that old system.
Mm-hmm. So Crusher puts together the virus was made to take out members of the same clan. And that's why the DNA was so specific. Anybody could carry it. If someone was carrying this and wasn't a member of the Lornak clan, it wouldn't do anything to them.
So, technically, almost anybody could be carrying it. Oh, no.
See, this seems like it would be a better plan to make a virus that spreads to literally anybody, only is deadly to these specific people, but just spreads around and makes anyone you come in contact with a symptomless carrier. This would be a much better way to deal with this.
But I guess Yuta's current job doesn't let her touch people very often.
We don't know what's happening yet.
Yeah.
Shush. We have no idea who the bad guy is or where this came from.
David, though, we saw something earlier. Anyway.
Yeah. So the Lornak clan apparently wiped out another clan about 200 years ago. So this is probably revenge.
Ah, the vengeance, it's here. It's
Yeah.
factoring in finally.
Also, the leader of the Gatherers, Corgan, is of the Lornok clan. Data pulls up a picture from about 50 years ago, right before the Lornok got killed at his trial. And they do some fancy computer stuff because they can see someone's eye poking out behind somebody's head. And then they go, hey, computer, extrapolate what the rest of that face looks like. They go, oh my god, it's Yuta.
Oh no, the computer AI has generated a full face. It just happens to look like someone we've met. Huh.
Yeah. What do you know? We should always trust generative AI to be accurate.
It's not just taking a picture from the database that just happens to fit and splicing it in.
Yeah. I'm not even like, yeah, fine. Future technology. Who even knows what kind of data is in these like future holographic photos? With anything that we know, though, there is 100% not enough face information to extrapolate anything from this picture.
Indeed.
I don't care how good at extrapolating it is, there's just not enough there.
Maybe there's just sort of a standard of like all cameras like have technically like 7 lenses or something like that, so you can get slightly different angles and you can use all that data. But if you look at the picture, it only shows you the best angle or something like that.
Well, the thing that it's not telling you is that it's also using like X-rays and something or other photon thingies that pass through all of the people in the foreground.
The soft X-rays, hard X-rays, gamma rays, it's fine.
They don't care anymore because they know how to cure radiation sickness and cancer. See, they never stopped irradiating people. They just figured out how to deal with it.
So always make sure to visit your local doctor after you've taken a picture.
Back at the negotiations, Yuta is about to bring Corgan some brandy, as a peace thing, when Riker beams down, shoots a guard, and Picard goes, "You've got a good reason for this, right? Right, Riker?"
Yeah. You're not just breaking up this negotiations that could solve generations of rifts between people for no reason, right?
Yeah, it is a very good character moment. It's like, I have complete faith in my first officer. Please tell me you know what you're doing. Please.
Yes.
Riker tells Yuta to back off, but she can't because Kogan's the last one. She's served her purpose for years of murder and revenge and altered her DNA and slowed down her aging so that she can accomplish this. Her entire life is about killing this one guy.
Wow, you're kind of obsessed, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. She runs at Corgan. Riker stuns her, but apparently her whatever upgraded metabolism means she can get through a lot of phaser blasts. So she just keeps running.
Stun 1, stun 2.
He keeps upping the power until finally he moves right past deadly to vaporized.
Well, if you want to make sure the virus is not a threat to Chorgan, that's maybe what you got to do.
And everyone else just sits there and watches this happen.
Yeah.
Literally anybody could have just grabbed her at this point. She is a quite small woman.
Yes.
The only thing you need to do is make sure she doesn't touch the one guy.
Like the one guy, he could get up and, leave.
Yeah, you could grab her. He could go to the other room. Problem solved. You didn't have to vaporize anybody.
There might be a certain level of shock going on here. It's like, we don't know what's going on. You're shooting this lady. She seems to be trying to lunge at Chorgan, and Chorgan's like, what?
He could have also grabbed her. It is a little bit weird that they rely on just knocking out anyone they have a problem with. They do not seem to have invented restraints.
True.
They don't have physical restraints. They just knock out anybody they need to deal with for more than 10 minutes.
You also have to be careful with that, because remember from Star Trek 6, a stun phaser at close range can be deadly.
Yeah.
So, be careful.
Stun seems to do different stuff depending on who's writing it. So,
Yes.
So negotiations go well. The gatherers agree to go back and get a bunch of demands and have land and representation and all the things. Picard tells Riker that they will be extending shore leave to anyone who needs it at the next station because, the next mission's easy. And he goes, hey, sure, fine. I'm traumatized. Go away.
Yeah, I'll deal with this over time, and hopefully everything will be better by next episode.
Yep, I fell in love with someone who died again.
Hopefully this won't keep happening in various different formats.
He's really kirking it up. Mm-hmm. This is why I'm so glad, and it's a very unpopular opinion, I know, but I'm so glad that this show was in the 80s and 90s, because I could not fucking stand a modern TV show doing this, every time Kirk falls in love with someone, she dies. Wouldn't that make him so psychologically fragile? He'd have so much trauma to deal with. Oh my God, we're going to write so much trauma.
Or we could not do that.
It's like, yeah, everything resets at the end of each episode because you kind of assume, and they've set up a pretty good expectation that, like, they're dealing with their mental health shit in between missions.
Yep.
You don't have to sit there and watch them be angsty at each other for hours. It's boring.
Occasional callback is like, yeah, I've, had to deal with this sort of thing before. I'm helping you, in this episode here. And, it takes time, but, I'm you consider to be a normal person. And so there's a possibility of you getting back to normal as well. So,
which, like, that's what they do. Every now and then Picard goes, I was once Borged.
Yes, and that sucked.
But you don't need 10 episodes of someone being traumatized with shit to know that they're dealing with trauma shit.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this. I hate modern television and everything it stands for. Sometimes they make a fun gay cartoon, and then that's fine. But, other than that.
Speaking of Borg, the outfits of the Gatherers, that's actually a lot of it is just recycled Borg outfits from
what if we
season.
do Borg with less tubes?
Take off the tubes and remove the makeup, and there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was about the end, yes?
Yep, that was it. That was the end. This is Riker. Yes. Riker be traumatized.
Yep. So what about that whole cycle of violence and endless conflict going on there?
Yep, they're sure doing that. I mean, sorta. They dealt with it. They dealt with it kind of better with the whole Romulan thing, with like Riker's speech for, so you're going to let him die because of what happened to your father, and then his kid is going to take you out because of what you did to his father, and then your kid, who you don't know about yet, is going to have to kill him, and etc.
Yeah, and you just kind of keep doing this forever, and all you get out of is more dead people.
Yeah, this one is she's pretty definitively going to end the thing. She's killed everyone who could possibly be involved.
Mm-hmm.
As far as vengeance plans go, good plan.
Difficult to pull off. You kind of have to wait decades on end to get to your targets, and you have to work for the Sovereign in order to get close to the right people.
Yeah, but it's workable. You're obviously doing it. You've extended your life to be patient and not have to rush things. You have a clean, untraceable way of killing people. The only problem is that she's pretty committed to the whole I'm going to stare you in the face and give a monologue about it part of the thing.
Well, I guess there's some interesting stuff going on here, in terms of maybe how she's dealing with this century-long struggle here. That maybe at the beginning she didn't do the monologues here, but now she's like, it's so close to the end, I need to find some sort of conclusion here in terms of my interactions with folks here, because it's almost over and I need to find meaning in my life here, and this is kind of pointless, but I've committed this far here, and I'm sunk cost fallacy all the way. So I'm going to extend this out a little bit longer by giving a little monologue here, and okay, you're dead.
It's another one of these weird ones where they, for some reason, always gives so much story time to the other plot lines that they kind of don't really focus in on the part of the plot line that they want to have the biggest impact and actually talk about. They give her like one line about, my revenge-fueled life has in fact ruined everything, and I can no longer feel pain or love or pleasure, and all I can think about is revenge. And she gets to say that one time to Riker, and then like they run off and finish the episode.
Well, I guess it is also interesting as far as the episode goes that having just that one plot focused on totally would actually be to its detriment, I'd argue, because there is two different ways of dealing with a long-lasting conflicts going on here. There's the get revenge and murder everyone conflict, and then there's the get over yourselves and learn how to talk to each other and resolve your differences a process going on here in negotiations. There is the very much two different styles of approaching this problem, and having them as a good contrast is kind of a good thing to be showing as sort of a parallel sort of structure here.
Oh yeah, you could have a good contrast, and I think they could do a really good thing showing the contrast and the parallels. They just sort of give one 40 minutes and one 5 minutes.
Yeah, which is sort of one of the issues with Star Trek in general here.
Yeah,
we're trying to have a mystery because that makes good TV, but that means the mystery only has like so much depth to it because we have to keep drawing it out for the whole episode.
Yeah, I don't want to just rewrite another episode, but they often do stuff better when it's like, oh well, we figured out what's going on pretty early, and then we spend the rest of the episode talking about what's going on.
So I guess I don't hate this episode. It does have some structural problems there, but I guess overall kind of like what they're trying to do in terms of that parallelism there. And it's also I guess kind of telling that Yuta is hanging out with the Sovereign, who might have the problems with the Gatherers, but does at the end of the day want to bring them back into the fold. That despite her misgivings, her biases, her own bigotry against them, that she's willing to give them a chance and offer the hand of friendship here. Well, Yuta is like, I'm seeing this basically every day right now, and yet I'm not able to give up my own way of doing things in order to resolve this problem. AKA something that's not really been a problem other than for her for decades now, really. And so it's sort of like, people dealing with actual problems are being really responsible. The person who's dealing with something that's not really a problem except in her own mind is being horribly irresponsible.
Well, yeah, the Sovereign's one of those. This is what you get if you have a politician who actually believes in the things that they're trying to do. Because she's pretty willing to, she doesn't like these people, but she's like, I want our entire people to be unified, and if I have to, make compromises to do that, then fine, we'll do that.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be happy about it. Gosh darn it, I have to, bend over backwards in order to, accommodate these people by giving them an inch. It's just such a pain in the ass, but I'll do it because I actually believe in this stuff. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, because they're like, okay, fine. We're both politicians. We're both doing it. We're politicianing. I can respect that, I suppose.
And now we've come to an accord, and what's this murder plot going on? Gosh darn it. Something else is getting annoying.
Yeah, now we have to deal with other stuff. My God. I don't want to have to do things.
But, so I guess in terms of... teaching a lesson for the audience. It is, I guess structured all right on that front. That
I think
you could still disagree with people in terms of their behaviors and all that sort of stuff, but having principles, can be a thing.
I think they don't even, if they just had that, they could have gotten into the politics of the stuff, which would have been more interesting. Mm-hmm. They don't even really get to the point of the thing because they focus so much on Riker, losing his love interest, that they kind of don't really talk about the revenge part of the thing much, particularly. Mm-hmm. Because you have this whole thing. Even if she'd pulled it off, then what? It's kind of underscores the pointlessness of the whole thing of you, the last surviving member of this group, have sacrificed your entire life and ability to continue like to carry your group or legacy forward in order to kill the last surviving member of this group, and now you're all dead, and so what?
Yeah. Now you've now there's nothing but graves here, and you're still going to be in there too. And
this has accomplished what now?
Yes, your vengeance has been had. Congratulations. Now the universe is pointless for you. So I guess to anyone listening, vengeance is a little pointless at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. You could have thrown in a few things about one of the things that we lost was this one group. Like, here's our tragic story that this one group got completely massacred and they were the best artists or whatever on the planet. And now we've lost such an important part of our culture. And then, oh, you were one of those, but you gave up everything that made you a unique, special, interesting person or culturally interesting in order to do nothing but seek revenge.
Yeah, you've become nothing but a soldier on a mission for nothing, really.
Yeah, and that's why you have to stop doing this stuff, because eventually everyone just becomes a soldier on a pointless revenge mission instead of doing literally anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, living is kind of nice when you can do things that that are kind of cool. And just murdering each other is a little a little boring at the end of the day, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's kind of depressing.
Which I do think is I don't have a lot to say about this episode. They did the political stuff pretty well. Murdering each other is in fact kind of boring, and they didn't really do much to tell us why we should think of it beyond that. Yep, they're trying to murder people. That's honestly a little boring. I've seen people try to be murdered before. Thank you.
I guess it doesn't do a good job of it, but trying to point out that being a murder machine kind of saps yourself emotionally as well. Mm-hmm. That it's not only a quiet, dull life of constantly trying to murder people, but you kind of lose the ability to have normal emotions. You become an automaton who has nothing but the mission and what you're told to do, and that's it. You're not really operating like a normal person anymore, or a person at all.
Yeah, you can't even have weird, meaningless before I'm gonna kill someone sex with Riker.
Yeah, and if you can't do that, then why is life even worth living? Really? Certainly not for Riker.
No.
I do want to roll back a little bit, though. When they're at the 10 forward there, and Yuta's sitting down with Riker there. Troy's there, and there's a moment here where Troy is very much doing the wingman thing for Riker. It's oh yeah, I'm just leaving here. Go ahead and have a seat here. And you mentioned the other episode there. What if Riker and Troy were together still, but doing the polycule thing? Mm-hmm. This would have been a perfect sort of scene to sort of lay out some interesting stuff with that here. But as it is, still good. I still liked it.
Yeah, I think definitely through a modern lens, Troy and Riker are definitely the couple who likes your vibe.
Yes. So, Yuta, if you're not interested in Troy, that's fine.
Yeah.
But, you seem to be really keen on Riker, so...
Hey, Yuta, we really like your vibe.
Let's go hang out for a while.
Yeah. See, that would have worked out so much better, because, Troy could have helped her work through all of her terrible revenge issues.
Yes.
As an empathic counselor.
Yuta, you just need to be bi, then everything would have been good.
Everyone in the future should be bi. I think that's the whole Doctor Who thing.
Yeah. So that's all I got for this episode here.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't have a lot. We even talked about don't trust AI images to do stuff.
Yes.
They make things up.
Autocompletes kind of sucks even when it comes to images here. So,
we've identified the suspect using our extrapolated images. We need to look for someone who has 2.5 eyes and 17 fingers.
Also, their teeth are a bit interesting too. I can't see them all, but I'm pretty sure that's a lot more than normal here.
Yeah. All right. So that's that. So I think it's time to take revenge on the galaxy's favorite game show.
Woo, oh no! Hey everybody, welcome to the galaxy's favorite game show. I'm apparently being targeted right now, but hopefully the prizes I hand out won't cause anyone to pull the triggers on those laser sights there. Anyway, the first prize we got to hand out today is the TV Love Story Prize, which goes to Riker and Yuta. Riker's got his groove on, but she's dealing with a sword mission to complete her centuries-long mission to murder people, star-crossed lovers and all that. What do they win, Gapwin?
They win future Shakespeare. This is like a total Romeo and Juliet sort of story. Two lovers, both alike in dignity. One a virus.
The other one just a beard, Hopefully Riker will have better luck next time. But Yuta, good luck with being a vapor. Yes.
Yeah, don't vape, kids.
A new definition of vaping. Our second prize here is the Good Talk Prize, which goes to Picard for actually being a half-decent moderator on all this for the negotiations. It's like, yeah, you might be yelling about stuff now, but you're having a drink together, so you can agree on something at least. What does he win, Gepwood?
Picard wins the exclusive rights to bring, Picard wine to all future negotiations. Because they keep having brandy and stuff, but, he owns a vineyard. Mm-hmm. He totally could have his family locked down on this stuff. It's like, we're all celebrating by having a glass of probably terrible wine.
There are, vineyards with the Picard name that do actually exist. If I recall, a friend of mine once got a bottle of their wine, and apparently it was okay.
One thing we can agree on is this wine is technically fine.
Our final prize here is the Pitt the Elder Prize, which goes to Corgan or whatever his name is, for demanding proper representation in government if they're going to become citizens, and probably subject to taxation and all that. What does he win, Gepwin?
Pitt the Elder wins space tea, something tea adjacent that they have for these people, because they just please throw some tea out of an airlock. We've never done that, and it seems such an obvious parallel you could work with.
Indeed. So Star Trek writers, go ahead and take that one from us. Tea out the airlock. Go for it.
Yeah.
And that's all I got here for this week, Gepwin, and all our audience. And I hope you have a wonderful time here. Feel free to take us away.
Yes, thank you all for joining us and not revengifying on the galaxy's favorite game show.
Woo!
The next time, it's time for some classics 80s spy stuff for the first episode of the 90s.
Yep. So, did we ever mention that there's the Cold War going on during this time period?
Yeah, the war, it was cold. It's getting colder. It's getting way, way colder by this point.
Very, very chilly, you'd say, even.
Yeah, it's kind of not happening.
Yeah, so we get a guy, and there's maybe some acting going on here as well at the beginning. It's a little awkward because it's like Picard standing over here, but also he's playing a character in the scene, and yeah. Anyway,
yeah, it's a little weird because the whole time you're like, wait, that's Picard. What's happening?
But yeah, we can talk about it then. But short version, Picard wanted to do some Shakespeare as part of the episode, but he was also supposed to be standing over here on the side watching it. So
we've got Shakespeare and then more Shakespeare and some Shakespeare, and also at some point in all the Shakespeare talk, a Romulan defects, and then we have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a whole thing going on with that. It's fine. There's defecting, there's Shakespeareing, there's Romulan subplots, and brinksmanshipping again.
Indeed. I will say that this next episode does help further our expanding Klingons and Romulans plots there as well.
Yeah. Well, we're starting to get somewhere. We're continuing plot lines. What? I thought DS9 invented the continued plot line.
TNG had some too. They just, we're not nearly as tight, I guess. It's like,
you had to pay attention as things went instead of it being part 1 of 15. We are now watching Doctor Who. Yes.
I don't think there's been a 15-parter technically. It's like a 14, but 15.
So anyway, next time we continue for, I guess, part 2 of Picard versus Tomahawk.
Mm-hmm. Well, Romulans in general. Does Tomahawk even? Oh, yeah, he does show up in the next one here.
Yeah,
so,
I think this is the last time he shows up because they cannot keep an antagonist on this show.
Well, he does show up again, in at the very least, All Good Things at the end of the series.
Yeah.
But more like a cameo sort of thing. But, he's also apparently in Future Imperfect.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so he's got 4 appearances. Nice.
Mm-hmm. And, that third appearance is like kind of a technicality. It's big asterisk by it. But anywho.
Yeah, so next time we continue with the Romulans and defecting and all kinds of cool stuff.
Next time on Watchers of Tomorrow, this defector is defective. You have been listening to Watchers of Tomorrow, a podcast on science fiction media. Find and follow Watchers of Tomorrow on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Spreader, Digital Podcast, and perhaps many more to come. If you enjoy our podcast, make sure to subscribe for more. And where possible, make sure to rate your experience or leave us a review. You may find Gepwin on youtube.com/Gepwin and Twitter @Gepwin. You may find me, Dr. Isix, on youtube.com/Dr. Isix and Twitter @IsixLP. Music is Waveform and Mori's Principle, both by DRKRN. You can also check out the Watchers of Tomorrow Discord channel. Make sure to share the experience with your friends, family, enemies, and alien overlords. If you feel you are suffering from transporter syndrome, please be aware that the next time you step off the transporter, that you, that is now, no longer exists.